Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's do this. Let's talk about what happens when the rate of the Iraqi dinar is reinstated at the $3.22 rate. Because that's being brought up a whole lot. There's a lot of people out there talking about this rate. So I'm going to show you all the fun-loving things you need to know about the rate change being reinstated to $3.22. I know you're going to enjoy this. Before we get started, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so. Because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, and you should, check out our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. Before we get into the reinstatement of the $3.22, I got to cover something that other people keep talking about over and over. For some reason, I know there are so-called gurus. I can't stand that name, by the way. There are so-called dinar gurus who are trying to claim that there is an in-country rate versus a out-of-country rate. That's a lie. There's only one rate, period. So if the rate is $1.50, it's going to be $1.50 in Iraq as the same as outside of Iraq. If the rate is $3.22 in Iraq, it's going to be the same for outside of Iraq. Now, can you imagine if there was two different rates? Think about this. Let's say for this example, there's two rates like all these people are claiming. Inside Iraq, you get $3.22. Yay! Outside of Iraq, you only get $1.50. Boo! What do you think would happen? The people in Iraq would get all the money from the exchange, come out here, give you the money. You would go buy more Iraqi dinar at $1.50, a ton more. Take all those dinars, go back and give them to your friend over here in Iraq, who turns around and sells it for $3.22. Do you see the problem here? This is why the rate is always going to be the same. There is no such thing as in-country rate and out-of-country rate. Just like there's no such thing as redemption centers. There's no 800 numbers. There's no back office screen rates. There's no people standing by in a redemption centers. There's no magical codes. There's no you get a better rate if you go in as a group. All that is bullcrap. It's just a lie. These lies have been going on for well over a decade. So all you have to do is sit back and think about what these people are telling you. Just use a little common sense and you'll figure this out. If there was two separate rates for an in-country, out-of-country, this kind of stuff would be happening. That's why the rate is going to be the same. So once an exchange rate is implemented, that exchange rate is the same all over. Just converted into whatever country's currency. Got it? Let's get that one out of the way real quick. Also, I'm starting to learn that people don't know the difference between an RI and an RV. So let's cover these definitions because people keep mixing them up. As a matter of fact, I got so used to listening to people mix them up that I just started saying, just for simplicity's sake, the RI, RV, just push them together. So I got to get out of that habit because there is a difference. When we are talking about a RI, we are talking about a reinstatement. That's what it is. We're reinstating. So what does reinstate mean? To restore someone or something to their former position or condition. So to put it back to where it was. So when you talk about a RI, that means whatever the rate was before the program rate. I believe it was $3.22. So if people think that the $3.22 rate is going to be the rate again, then that is a RI. Okay? Does that make sense? This is the thing that everybody is hoping and waiting for right here, the RI. The RV is a little bit different. Assess the value of something again. Adjust the value of a currency in relations to other currencies. So a revaluation is just changing. You are changing the value of the currency. That's all it is. So people are talking about it and they keep going, well, the RV, you don't believe an RV is going to happen. I said, what are you talking about? I believe in an RV. Who said I never believed that an RV wouldn't happen? We just saw one happen on December 2020. Yeah, that's an RV. It's not the one you were hoping for, but it's still an RV, a revaluation. They took the Iraqi dinar. The exchange rate was for every $1 you received at the time, 1,190 dinars. They assessed the value again. They adjusted the value of the currency. It went in the wrong direction, but it's still an RV. Now for that $1, you get 1,450 dinars. So that's what a revalue is, an RV. So an RI is when you're talking about the reinstatement of the $3.22 rate. An RV, all that is, anytime they change the value of the dinar. I told you I heard all kinds of rumors in one of my videos about what they were going to change it to. And I said it was going to go up in increments. They first were talking about reinstating the 1,190 dinars, reinstating the IQD from the 1,450 back to the 1,190. That's a revalue. That's an RV. It's not the one we were hoping for. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying that's all the chatter that's out there. And I'm not talking about chatter from the so-called YouTubers and everything else. Then I kept hearing the rate of 1,050 dinars from the 1,450 dinars we have now. That's about a 27.5% increase in value. That's a revaluing. That's going in the right direction. And people were complaining about that. And they keep going, well, Pimpy doesn't believe in an RI or an RV. Well, I never said that I didn't believe in them. I said it's possible. So I know an RV, we know that's real. We just saw one in December 2020. I think what people are challenging me on is saying that I don't believe that the reinstatement of the rate of $3.22 is going to happen. Let's clear this right now. Do I believe that the $3.22 rate can be reinstated? My answer is, and always has been, yes, it's possible, but unlikely. See the difference between the two? I'm not saying that it won't happen because nobody knows. And I mean nobody. Anybody out there telling you otherwise is lying to you. There's no military involved with the dinar. There's all that's bullcrap. All right, you guys, get over that. They're just blowing smoke up your butt and lying to you. Nobody out there knows the rate except for those in the need to know. And the person that changes the rate is the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq. Once he comes up with the rate, he brings it to Parliament. They do their thing. Then they decide when the rate change is going to happen. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So on February the 20th, 2022, we were told that when Iraq revalued the Iraqi dinar and they moved it from the rate of 1,190 IQDs for every dollar to 1,450 IQDs for every dollar, that they had to do it because of a financial crisis that happened towards the end of 2020. That's just the government doing their thing, letting people know why they need to do something, except for there's a problem. Recently, there has been a lot of accusations against Al-Kadhimi and his administration. As a matter of fact, they're being accused of corruption. Sauder wanted these people questioned, and Parliament brought them in. We brought in the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq. They brought in Alawi, who's the Minister of Finance. At first, he resisted. He knows what's going on. He knows they are going after these people because of the rate change. But look at this here. It says, Alawi, no one can evade changing the dollar exchange, and the travel ban will not frighten the honest finance minister. So we'll just go to right here. It's just one paragraph down here. The head of the National Coalition, Alawi, confirmed that all the political blocs, indicated changing the exchange rate of the dollar against the dinar 2 years ago. It just wasn't implemented until December 2020. The governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, along with the finance minister, sit in council with the government of Iraq, but the government of Iraq has no say-so. The Central Bank of Iraq is totally separate and independent of the government of Iraq. Then Alawi goes on to say, the change in the dollar exchange rate came after consultation with all the blocs that participated in the government, and therefore trying to evade responsibility for this decision or throw it at others will not deceive the people. Because that's what we're seeing happening. You got political blocs within parliament are pointing the fingers at Al-Kadhimi and his administration, claiming that they are corrupt. So again, right here, Alawi saying that these political blocs, they indicated changing the exchange rate. So what he's saying is 2 years ago, Alawi saying this, that the political blocs knew about the change in the rate, they were involved in consultation, and they were okay with it. But now that they're seeing all the backlash and the complaining from people about how it affected the poor people, they don't want no part of it, and they're trying to distance themselves from it. 2 years ago, this rate change was agreed upon, and that's important to know because I'm going to show you why. At the current rate that we are right now, you can see that the rate for every one Iraqi dinar, every one, it is worth 0.00068 United States dollar. Keep that in mind because I want to show you something. Keep that in mind because I came into this comment under one of the videos, so I want to be able to respond to it. But first, we had to clear those things up. 2/19/2022, Newshound Guru Pimpy. So just so you know, I understand there are some websites that talk about the dinar, and you see something like this. I do not type that up. I have nothing to do with that website. What these people do is they come to our videos, people who report about the Iraqi dinar, and whatever we say in the video, they type it out, and then they post it on the website. So then other people go along and they read this, which again, I don't have a problem with it as long as they are saying exactly what it is that I'm saying and not changing my wording. I don't know. I don't go over there and read them. Only when somebody brings something to my attention. So on here, it goes on to say the dinar rate change talks, as usual. Remember, Sauder, when he campaigned, he said that he was going to do something about the exchange rate. Not having said that, calm down. We don't know what this means. There's people out there thinking there's going to be a reinstatement of the old rate of $3.22. I said there's nothing out there that proves that. Nothing. Nobody out there has any proof. I don't care what they're telling you. They're lying to you. Do you understand what kind of damage that could be done to not only the economy of Iraq, but to the dinar if somewhere, somehow, an announcement was made about a rate change before they actually did the rate change? Think of it this way. It's like having inside trader information. It's like knowing the value of a stock is going to change and in what direction it's going to go before they make the announcement. That's illegal. They're not going to tell people what the rate change is going to be before they make the changes. They talk about them in news articles, they speculate, but they don't know. Like I said, anybody out there claiming, they are lying to you. They don't have any special insider. They don't have any military connections. They don't have any of that. Because over in Iraq, that kind of information leaked out is the death penalty. As you're sitting there listening to your favorite YouTuber talk about the dinar, ask yourself, gee, is this guy worth dying over? Or is this girl worth dying over? Because essentially that's what happens. It's a huge difference than here in the United States, like when they threw Martha Stewart in jail for insider trading information. So no person that's in charge of changing the rate of the Iraqi dinar is going to risk losing their life. Keep in mind, when 45 was in office, every dang phone call he made off his phone, any department's phone, anything that he did on the phone, there were multiple people listening in on the conversations. Transcripts were made, everything. The reason why I bring that up is, what do you think happens to a person who's put in the position to control the central bank of Iraq? I would imagine that they're listening to everything this guy does and monitoring all his emails, text messages, and everything else like that, just to make sure there is zero corruption. Now, I'm not saying they can't find a way to get around that. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure they're monitored hardcore. So I did make this comment. I said nobody out there has any proof that of this. I know that kind of talk is out there that it's a 322 rate, but it's just speculation. But people were passing it off as if they knew themselves. Some gurus are out there going, "Oh no, it's going to be the rate. My insider person told me." When they say that, they're lying to you, or straight lying to your monitor. I went ahead and said most likely what had happened is it'd be reinstated back to the 1,190 dinars where it was before. And so Jay said, "Wait a minute." So he wanted to bring something to my attention. He said, and I love how whenever you don't say anything that people agree with, they really attack you personally. You got to love that. It's just my opinion about what's going on. This whole channel is nothing but my opinion. But my opinion is formed with common sense, which separates me from a lot of other people out there. Here you go. Just like you're saying there is no proof of a change back to the $3.22 Pimpy, you also have no proof that they won't. Now, I never said that I have undeniable, undisputable proof that this is not going to be the rate. I never said that. That's because I don't have any proof that it's not going to be $3.22. Just like they have no proof that it's going to be $3.22. There has been words used like glory days and other terms. So for some reason, people, I can already see, I haven't seen any videos, but I can imagine that these so-called gurus are going, "This is how you know we're going back to the rate." When they said glory days, they like to do this a lot. They'll go through and cherry pick words like it's code. Oh, this means we're going back to the $3.22 rate because they use the words glory days. Glory days has nothing to do with the rate. Why do they need to use code? So here's my thing about this. Why use glory days? How about I give you a better example, Jay, for this rate than glory days? I did a video on an article, and in there was a man, I believe his name was Cortez, and he was part of the United Nations Security Council, and he was commenting on the Iraqi dinar back in 2014. Now, I read this article a couple years ago. 2014, did not seem that far back. What Mr. Cortez said, and I think it's Cortez, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it is, but does it matter? This person was with the United Nations Security Council. And the comment that he made was this: there is no reason that Iraq should not be able to reinstate its former rate for the Iraqi dinar. They have not done anything to change its value. It should be reinstated at the former rate when the time comes. Now, I get it. When I did a video, it was worth being excited over. But a lot of things have changed since 2014. Circumstances changed a little bit. And this is that man's opinion. He was stating that there was no reason. Now, if we find out that this guy was the be all, say all, end all, and his word is solid gold, and he's telling the world that it's going to be reinstated at $3.22, that's a little different. Now, again, before we continue, I must clarify, I'm not saying that it's not possible to have the $3.22 rate reinstated. Of course it's possible. That's where people are mixing things up, because I said I believe the Iraqi dinar would go up in value in increments over time instead of a flat out reinstatement of the rate of $3.22. And that's because of the way I know it would affect the economy and business within Iraq. It could be very damaging to companies, especially foreign investors. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a moment. He said, but one thing is for sure, Sauder and Kadimi and others have all declared they want to give the people more purchasing power. Okay, we remember Sauder campaigned on the fact that he was going to try to do something about the rate of the Iraqi dinar. And the reason for that is, before they even devalued it, anybody that knows anything about the exchange rate of a currency knows that when you devalue a country's currency, it disproportionately affects the poor people. Think of it as inflation, like we're going through here in the United States. Their dollar buys less of the things they need because the cost of these services or supplies, the prices are increased to make up for the lost value of the currency. Right now, we're going through heavy inflation here in the United States. And what do we see? Your money does not go in there to the store and buy you the same things it used to, even back as much as a year ago. That's inflation. That's a different type of devaluing of a currency. So, yes, they wanted to do something about the exchange rate. It says on here, just exactly how does 1,190 or even 1,000, I'm guessing, just talk about the rate of the dinar, give the people more purchasing power? Pimpy, answer that, please. So if it goes from 1,450 dinars for every $1 or 1,000 dinars, how does that give them more purchasing power? So the Iraqi people lost 260 dinars in this rate change compared to what it was before. Or a better way to put it, 21.8% of their purchasing power was lost. That's more than 1/5 of their money is gone just off a rate change. So although to you, you're like, this isn't purchasing power, this isn't nothing because you want that bigger rate. If you're living in Iraq and you're trying to budget your Iraqi dinars and you're not making that much, an increase of 21.8% would be a huge gain to you. So see, it's not that the people wouldn't have more purchasing power. You're just not happy with that amount in the change of the rate because you want the big bucks. Well, it's coming. I'm going to show you. The difference between the old rate to the new rate was a loss of 21.8% of their purchasing power. Bringing it back to the original 1,190 would give them back 21.8% of your purchasing power. Let me put it to you another way so that it makes sense. So let's say you're making 1,000 a week and then all of a sudden they take away 21.8% of your check. Now instead of getting 1,000 a week, you get, what is that? Now you only get $782 per week. See the difference in that change in the rate? So to you, you're looking at it through the eyes of the US dollar exchange. You're not looking at it through the eyes of an Iraqi person who actually lives off the dinars. That's why to use an example that might make more sense to you. So you go from making $1,000 a week and then somebody takes away 21.8% of your money. Now you're only making $718. You would notice that. You would be pissed off. Now imagine they gave that back to you. How happy you would be. What could you do with $218 more per week? Yeah, let that sit in. Times 4. How much more things can you purchase with an additional $218 in your check every week? You say nobody has any proof that it's going to go back to the $3.22. I'm saying currently, see, this is what happens. People hear what I say, but you're not digesting the information properly. What I said was nobody out there has any proof currently that we're going back to the $3.22 rate. That's what I said. or whatever it was prior to the program rate. But what proof do you have that it won't, Pimpy? What do you mean, what proof? I never said that the original rate would never ever be reinstated. I said it's possible. I said, in my opinion, it would go up in increments, and I'm going to show you why. And then here comes the personal attacks when people don't like what you have to say because their whole dreams were just shattered because they misunderstood what was said. Their brains didn't digest the information properly. So then they go on personal attacks. I'm guessing this guy is a liberal. I've said this before and I will say it again. How can a man who promotes the ongoing fantasy of Nasera Jacera? Well, I don't promote any fantasy about Nasera Jacera, so I'm not sure what that means. Look people in their eyes with a straight face and reason with an argument of the IQD rate and what it will or will not be, and in the same breath, expect people to take you seriously when you constantly peddle the Nasera Jacera garbage. First of all, I don't peddle it. I talk about Nasera Jacera, but in case you haven't noticed, I don't talk about it the same way other people out there talk about Nasera Jacera. But I'm also the one who said a million times people need to stop expecting some official Nasera Jacera announcement, but pay closer attention to the items that are on the list. So that's not peddling. To peddle, to try and sell something, especially small goods, by going house to house, place to place. Well, there's nothing I'm selling. To sell an illegal drug or stolen item. Promote an idea or view persistently or widely. Nope, I don't go out there and promote Nasera Jacera. I do Nasera Jacera videos, but I am not out there peddling Nasera Jacera. I stepped into the Nasera Jacera arena once my student loan was paid off. But I can tell by the way you're wording this that you're not hearing what I'm saying. That's why I'm doing this video, to paint a perfectly clear picture so that you understand. To you, the change from 1,190 dinars to 1,450 is no big deal. So if it comes back to 1,190 dinars, it's still no big deal to you. But it is if you live in Iraq and you live off of the IQD. That's why I changed it from the Iraqi dinars to the US dollars, so that it makes better sense to you. So yeah, to you it's no big change. But if you were making $1,000 a week and someone was taking away $218 per week of your check, you would not be a happy camper. Now, let's go to the $3.22 rate. Yes, here we go. We're going to reinstate the $3.22 rate. Because people go, if you think it's possible, then why do you think it's unlikely? In my opinion, I said, it would hurt the economy. It would damage the dinar if it went out too high of a rate. And that's why you had to do it in increments, or else you'll shock your economy. What am I talking about? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Let's go ahead and do this so you can see why it's most likely not going to be reinstated at $3.22. Now, I haven't said that. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I'm going to show you why it's unlikely. Here we go. Welcome to Pimpy Inc. Yeah, that's right. Let's use this example. Right now, at the current rate, you get 1,450 dinars per $1, $1 US dollar. For every one single dinar, you can sell it for 0.00068 US dollars. Yeah, that's the rate. If you open up a business over in Iraq, so for the sake of it, I live here in the United States, and I open up Pimpy Inc. in Iraq, and I have one employee, just one. That's it. And I pay my employee 1,450 dinars per week. Well, at the current rate, my cost would be $1 per week. How did I get that? Well, the current rate is for every $1, you can get 1,450 dinars. So for the sake of this example that I'm giving you, I opened up Pimpy Inc. in Iraq, have one employee that I pay 1,450 dinars per week. At the current rate, my cost is $1 per week or $4 per month. Are you guys clear on this? Let me show you what happens to that country if you wake up the next day and the rate goes from 1,450 dinars per dollar to $3.22 USD per dinar. Wake up in the morning and what the heck just happened? Lo and behold, the old rate of $3.22 has been reinstated. What happens to my company? And not just my company, but all the other businesses that were created by foreign investors. So my $4 per month, right? The $3.22 rate is reinstated. So my new cost for my one employee goes like this. I pay him 1,450 dinars per week times 4. That equals 5,800 dinars per month. At the current rate, my 5,800 dinars at the current rate would cost me $18,676. It is now costing me $18,672 more dollars for that same employee. What do you think business owners are going to do? Do you see why reinstating at a rate of $3.22 would affect the country? Let me show you what I think is going to happen. I think they're just going to go up in increments. Again, to make this simple, all right, I'm going to use round numbers. Right now, we're currently at 1,450 dinars. That's how much I get for every one of my US dollars. Let's say the rate change does go to 1,000 dinars. Iraqi people, they gained 450 dinars in purchasing power. But me as a business owner, I lost 450 dinars in costs. But as much as I want to whine about it, what does this mean to my employee? Remember, I have my one employee. He's getting paid 1,450 dinars per week. Before, I used to be able to get 1,450 dinars for $1. But the rate has changed. It is now 1,000 dinars for every dollar. What does that mean to me? How much is it going to cost me now to pay the same 1,450 dinars to my one employee? Well, it's going to cost me $1.45. Not $18,676 at the rate you want. This is why it's going to go up in increments. There is a world of difference between the cost of my employee going from $1 per week to $1.45 a week versus $18,676. When people say, hey, Pimpy, do you think an RI or reinstatement is possible? I say, sure, it's possible, but unlikely. I think it's going to go up in increments. Do you see why now it should go up in increments? If it goes up in those increments, that allows time for businesses to adjust, to turn around and change the prices for their services or products to make up for the loss of the 450 dinars or the 45 cents. That's much easier to deal with than $18,672. I hope that makes sense. So for those of you who are able to digest this information properly, and you just don't cherry pick words out that you don't like or numbers out that you don't like, let me know down in the comment section. I hope that makes sense, what I'm saying. Again, I'm not saying that a reinstatement is not possible. It's possible, but unlikely. And I just showed you why. In order for them to allow the economy and businesses to adjust, it's going to have to go up in increments. I know for decades now, these people on YouTube have been lying to you, claiming they have some insider information that the rate is going to be reinstated at 322. I say they're full of crap. That none of them have proof. But it's funny, if you ask for receipts, where is your proof? What do they say? I got an NDA, or I can't tell you who my inside person is, or, it's secretive. You see, that's the geniusness of their games. They could tell you whatever they want to tell you without having to prove it, because it would be violating some type of secret military Dakota ring wearing insider person. You know what I mean? What I'm saying to you is this is the channel where things are grounded. That's what I do here. I bring you information and just give you my personal opinion, and it's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right, but I'm pretty sure I am. I'll explain it to you. I don't have a problem with it. But for the most part, most of my subscribers that listen to me know what I'm talking about and they follow along and they get it. There's only a handful of you out there who are not grasping what I'm talking about. So I don't mind coming back and doing just like I did now, painting a pretty picture for you so that you can see it in a different light. Although, Jay, you don't think changing the rate from 1,450 dinars back to 1,190 is that big of a deal, and that, oh man, the poor Iraqi people, how's that going to give them more purchasing power? Because you're not seeing the dinar value, you're seeing the US dollar value. That's why I changed it from dinars into 1,000 US dollars per week, now minus 218 of those dollars. Now that you see it that way, it is a big difference. I hope you see that. That's getting back $872 per month. Now, do you see how they get more purchasing power? Because they would then have $872 back in their paycheck, and technically stores should adjust down that same percentage. So now you have more money, and the prices of the goods and services went down. That means you get to buy more of the goods and services. Anyways, I hope you get it, you guys. Hit the thumbs up button if you're not a subscriber. Please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely would appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.